later, sure enough, Brazil couldn't make it, couldn't pay back the principal nor the interest. So the World Bank came in and said, well, Brazil, tell you what do. We will just merely foreclose on what you gave us if we gave you that new line of credit. And sure enough, Brazil had no choice. Who owns today the entire Amazon River Basin? It's owned by none other than the World Bank. How did they get it? For computer entry. You see, they created a problem, and then they created a solution, and Brazil did exactly what they just said. Now, what are they doing to the American economy today? First of all, you destroy the dollar in order to bring in what? The North American Union. A new currency. Every bit of it being done by a design plan. Let me prove it to you. Here it is right here. The word is better known as inflation. Now, watch carefully. The dollar in 1950, it will only buy 12 cents today of what it would buy in the year of 1950. It has lost 88% of its value since 1950. All right, if you were my age, you would remember when the dollar was worth exactly what it was. But instead, we have had 100% inflation since the year 1950. Let me prove it to you. A postage stamp in 1950 cost 3 cents. Today, the cost of a postage stamp is over 40 cents. What is that? That's 1,266% inflation. Did that happen by chance? Not on your life. It happened by a design plan by the people who want to own everything in our modern day society and bring it all under control. Let's take a gallon of gas. A gallon of 90 octane gas in 1950 at a full service gasoline station cost 18 cents in 1950. Today, over $4 a gallon, up 1,870%. All right, let's go again. A house in 1959 cost average $14,100. Today, that same medium-priced house costs $213,000. By chance? Not on your life. By design plan. A dental crown used to cost $40. Today it's $1,100. 2,750% inflation. An ice cream cone cost 5 cents. You remember those days back in 1950. Today, $2.50 for that same ice cream cone. 4,900% inflation. The average monthly government Medicare insurance premium paid by senior citizens was $5.30 in 1970. Today it is $93.50, 1,664% inflation. Several generations ago, a person worked 1.4 months per year to pay their federal government income tax. Today, they work 5 months in order to pay the identical same income tax. Well, what am I trying to say? All right, here it is once again. I hope you're beginning to get the message, because the only way that I can tell you what they told me is going to happen in the next 12 months is to give you the rest of the story so you understand the total picture. The year was 1960. I drove my automobile to a service station, not a gas station. Now notice my wording very carefully. I drove my automobile to a service station. An attendant walks out of the station and says, "How can I help you?" I said, "Fill her up." He puts the hose in the gas tank, and while the gas tank is filling, he checks my tire pressure, he raises my hood, checks my oil level, washes my windshield, and comes back around and says, 35 cents a gallon. Now, that year, it was 4 quarts to the gallon. Remember that now. Gasoline, 4 quarts to the gallon, 1960. 2008 2009 we're coming into before very long. I go to a gas station, no longer a service station. There's no attendant there. They can't afford them any longer. No service. And I get out of my automobile, put my credit card into the pump, and pump my own gas. Over $4 a gallon, well over $4 a gallon. Now, it is still 4 quarts to the gallon. The gasoline has not changed in any manner whatsoever. Do you realize that you're paying proportionately the identical same thing today for a gallon of gasoline that you paid in 1960, according to the purchasing power of the American dollar? The gasoline hasn't changed at all. The gasoline is still 4 quarts to the gallon. The only thing that has changed is the value of the currency, the Federal Reserve note, that you purchase that gasoline with. Are you beginning to get the message? You say, all of this done by design plan? You better believe it is. They are destroying the value of the American dollar so that other nations will not use it. Now, this may be found very startling. I hope you've considered this before. Did you hear me say that other nations will not use it? You're exactly right. Why? The standard currency of the world today is crude oil. It's not the dollar. It used to be. It was as sound as the dollar years ago. Not anymore. The standard currency of the world today is crude oil. It's not the yen, neither is it the ruble, neither is it the pound, and it's not the dollar. It's crude oil. You watch where crude oil goes and you'll see where all the currencies of the world are going. Now, if they can destroy the dollar from being used as the currency to sell and trade crude oil with, they can destroy the value of the dollar. They can make America a second-rate third world country, and that's exactly what they're in the process of doing, is bringing the entire world into the same level, and every bit of it done by a design plan. You see, there was a time when the dollar was so sound that all the oil-producing countries in the world used the dollar as the method of the sale and the trade of crude oil. Not anymore. The world today is opting out of the dollar at such a rapid pace, it is startling. Let me give you an example. This has happened just within the past few months' time. Let's go to the words reserve currency. What is a reserve currency? A reserve currency is the currency that nations hold for a rainy day, for a tough time, maybe during war, whatever it may be. You have a reserve currency. More than likely it's called a savings account. Now, you probably won't do this in light of what's happening in banking today, but let's say that you go down to your local bank and you say, I want to put some money into a savings account. So you do, and you keep it there for a rainy day. That's called a reserve currency. If you ever need to, you can go back and draw on it. But for the time being, you just leave it there. Now, nations have the identical same thing. They have a reserve currency. Now, always, as long as I can remember, and I'm no young fella, but as long as I can remember, the American dollar has always been used by every nation on the face of the earth as a reserve currency. They could depend on it when everything else fell through the floor. They could depend on the American dollar. Not anymore. Now the dollar has devaluated to the point that the world is scared to death of our $9.345 trillion. Looks like it's going over $10 trillion debt before long. They're getting scared to death of it. They don't trust our T-bills. They don't trust our credit any longer. And so what's happening? The world is no longer using the American dollar as its reserve currency. They're using other currencies to depend on a rainy day. Let me list for you the nations that within the past 6 months have ceased to use the American dollar as their reserve currency. Now, when the American dollar is not used as a reserve currency, what happens to the American dollar? That means it's not in circulation like it used to be. They don't use it any longer as that would say back up on. Here they are. I mean, this is a startling. Think about it for a moment. When these nations no longer use the dollar as a reserve currency, that means that they don't have to buy our T-bills. They don't have to buy the interest on our national debt. They no